France, who top the table with 5 wins from 5. Ireland are 4 wins from 4. England 3 wins and 1 defeat from their 4 matches, having put 11 past Scotland without reply. Ireland have had 1 game so far today. That was a 17-4 win against Wales, with England having followed up that loss against France with wins over Belgium 24-0 and Wales 18-1, and Ireland beat Belgium 17-0 and Germany 13-3 and Scotland 10-5. Peter Walters will come, as I said, we'll come on to your history in the game in just a few minutes' time. But first off, as a travelling New Zealander coming up for the European Touch Championships, how excited are you by the prospect of this game?
Oh, hugely excited. Look, it's day 2 of the tournament, and just seeing all the 19 countries here and everyone in their colours, and these 2 teams, especially in the men's open, the Premier grade, they both look very fit. They both look very strong, and you can see they've done a lot of work. Looking forward to seeing Ireland, on the big stage finally. And they've come with some game. Yeah. They've come to play, so looking forward to this one.
They've been building to this. I wouldn't say this is the pinnacle of what they've been building towards, but I remember in 2018 they probably weren't there. They were a mid-table side, but they still had that fire, and they get up for these games against England. They've been slowly building towards this, month by month, session by session, season by season. This is what they've come for now. And
we were watching that little preview interview that you did with Will Saracold and John Innes from the respective teams earlier on, and you were trying to get them to be chippy against each other up here in the studio, but they're going to leave it on the bench.
They're going to do it now. We just touched on it slightly then, but we are just behind the Ireland subs box. They're going to have a loud box, and you can see the crowds building already.
And here we go, Ireland on the attack with the second touch now, just building up pressure inside the England half. Ben O'Connell, number 4, he feeds it off to Mark Phelan.
Good day from England already. They're pressing really high from middle, and straight away, good feet. So straight away they're looking to get on those 23 quickies, those punish plays, link on link, and they've done it one side, they've come back the other with Phelan.
And here they go, Ireland looking for a score. No.
Yeah, twice in that set now. They've tried the punisher on the link, Cookie the short side of the link, and England up to the task on D.
Yeah, but I think both teams will look to do something similar. So England into their transition now. What England like to do is hit a 32 on their first play, so they hit away from their box. So Will drive in here, look to tip, and then they can work towards their box on touch 2 and 3.
Yeah, first couple of touches by Ireland, they're very strong.
Yeah. You can see it already, their midfield D is just relentless. They're going to press, and England are now breaking to their fly play on 4th.
And England now through John Weston, Stanley and Horatio Price. Dancing feet. He was stood out in the University National Touch Series for Exeter a couple of years ago, then stepped up into the National Touch Series with Raptors. But you've played against a lot of these Ireland teams, a lot of these Ireland players playing against Old Wesley in the Elite Men's National Touch Series this year. How difficult is it to play against them?
Just the highlight of their game is speed and fitness and physicality, and they don't seem to let up. They just keep coming, and if you're in a tight game towards the end, that's when they'll pick you. So yeah, they love that. They love that running game.
Yeah, and they've had good input. I mean, their coach here from Australia, Chris Johnson. I mean, he's done some good with them from New South Wales. He's done some good work with Ireland, as has England had some input from, I imagine, Peter Bell in the time he's been here in recent years.
Talking of Australia's player with experience of playing in Australia, Dom Tripp, he made the crucial touch from link earlier in that play, and he's now helping England get away with it, taking a touch now.
Dom is so good at that. When people talk about Dom Tripp, he's got a left to right, he's got a right to left.
4 sub, 4 Ireland for a heavy touch already.
What he's really good at, and it's not highlighted enough, is his goal line defence. He can snipe on plays that people haven't even thought is coming.
It's England now building in the Ireland half. Ben Grinter and Max Howard, he with the smouldering eyes in his headshot.
He's a very handsome player, as Max says. Josh Henderson on that punish play. Yeah. That's good.
I'd say that's down, guys.
Down.
England needed to strike early, and that's exactly what they've done.
Pete, do you mind just we talk about that link punish play?
Sure.
Did you say that this Ireland defender has made the touch with his wrong hand, so when he comes
so Josh has tucked in on his inside. He's taken him hard to the corner, and the defender went slightly straight, which means he couldn't handle that corner. He needs to pull a harder corner and get help from his middle underneath.
Great finish from the Galaxy London and University of Bath player. It's meant to think he's still at university, as is Louis Trez, who's in the middle now for Ireland.
I'm looking to reply with the exact same play. This is going to be a punish off all for 40 minutes.
And this is Philo, their number one. He's one of their top performers. Very good on attack.
Really light feet, good right to left. That's forward. So what you'll see from the England box side winger at the minute, but Paul Meredith, really fit, great defender, reads plays really well. And if Ireland manage to get a score on that left hand side, that's going to be a well worked score if they get over there. So England back into their subbing pattern, and they're going to work two up this box, Ireland's box side this time, and then they're going to work their way over. Louis Trez with a little bit of a burst of speed to get over.
Yeah, Louis Trez looks like he's done a lot of work this past 12 months in the gym. He's very powerful and he's quick off the mark.
Yeah, obviously his body shape's changed dramatically. It used to be really slight, and he obviously has put on quite a bit of muscle to deal with the physicality of men's opens.
Talking about physicality, there's a shoulder coming in from Ireland, and England are going to start with a penalty on the 7-metre line. That Galaxy London duo of Louis Trez and Camille Shahabdin, as you say, working the box on this side. Yep. And it's another Galaxy player, John Weston Stanley. I saw it, by the way, just while this is building up, he's playing in the 2015 World Cup. Ben Meakin showed me the team photo. That's a lot of young faces.
Watch out for this guy, Will Upton, counts his play incoming.
Talking of a young player, he is still just in his teens.
Still a baby.
Played in the World Cup at 17 in the mixed open.
Yeah, he's got really light feet. He's got a great right to left as well, and he's got a mega dive. He's so dangerous on these counties plays, and that's what he's looking for. Wow.
Dancing feet
wow.
go. Strictly come England touch.
I thought I bigged him up too much there, but that was brilliant.
Yeah, around a counties play there. Dumped on the middle, split in field. Stepped back to the short side, and the angle he ran put him away from the defender. It's a great touchdown.
What Ireland will be wary of there is obviously he's a tall guy, but he can get to the ground so quickly. He can get to that snake in the grass dive so quickly.
One of the key players in Nottingham's Rise Up the National Touch Series this year. His partnership with Clark Hobson. Clark unfortunately injured for this European Championships.
Defence.
It looked like a good touch to me, but all the players are generally getting in front, two-handed touches to the chest. It's aggressive. It means that the ball carrier needs to control that ball and not make error.
Correct. I agree, Pete. The ref got that wrong.
We're not biased in any way, shape or form here in England, watching England.
I just want touch to be the winner.
But this is already setting up to be a cracking game. England have been the much more clinical team so far, but Ireland always dangerous. And that is a fantastic shot there on the defence from George Henderson, who scored at the other end.
Well. Yeah, he's read that well. I mean, there is a little bit of space on that left-hand side for Ireland. Good feet, and again, Josh Henderson's read it. He's gone.
And he dropped it. Although
I think the referee is pulling back. It looked like the Ireland player was calling that he was saying that he'd called the touch when Josh sort of like as a simultaneous touch on that interception. So it could have been pulled back anyway, but it looks like Josh has just dropped that cold.
Stephen Troy having a bit of a chat with the referee. But yeah, I think a little bit too much sunscreen on the hands, or maybe he was just wondering about what his dive was going to be like. But Ireland have just had a massive let-off, and back they are on the England line. And that rebound off Dom Tripp
again. We talked about that snipe play and how invaluable he is in defence. He's read that play to perfection. Obviously, he did get in the way, and it will be back to one. But Ireland now are put off running that 33 counties play because they know that Dom is just going to shut it down. They go back to the punish, a little bit of space. Good dive, good D.
Dom Tripp with the touch, and that was Sean Balance on the dive, but the touch wins out.
Seeing good play on both sides of the ball here, that's what you get with the top level games. That was a great punish, a good dive, and Dom Tripp's just covered that really well.
And here come Ireland again.
Counties.
Yeah, that's going to be given. That's never done. It's Dom.
We're back in it.
Yep. Camille Shahabdin's not made the goal line in that one, Pete.
Yeah, I think it was an offside call, so play on. Didn't get 2 feet on the scoreline.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Camille's off.
Good refereeing there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. If Ireland can go back to exploiting that, then we've got a game here.
Just quickly, while we'll come back to why you're wearing Sweden kit in just a second, as England through John Weston Stanley goes back to, he thought he dodged past the touch, but no, it's been called and he goes back 3 or 4 metres. Just takes the wind out of England's sails just temporarily, although he gets to start again with a penalty, I think. You can see he certainly had been touched, but he just taps and goes.
So they'll work their way back to Will's pet play, and it's probably going to be a counties here. Might step. He's going to go to the punish this time, long back the other way with Horatio.
And Ireland this time through Ben O'Connell were alive to that danger and managed to shut things down, but England get a fresh set of 6.
Yeah, I noticed the referee, that's Jay from USA. There's 3 referees from the USA that actually travelled over for the tournament. Good to see them here.
Referees also from South Africa, Australia, across Europe, as you say, the Americas as well. It's a properly international tournament.
Good D.
That's great defence from Ireland, lifting high off the...
And this is turning angsty already. There's a shove in the back coming from Horatio Price, who then receives a ball thrown at him by Sam Bewley for his trouble. And the referees are going to have to pour a little bucket of cold water on this one.
Yeah, the teams have to be wary of their discipline. They don't get on the wrong side of the referee and then all the 50-50 calls will go against them.
Yeah. I think we've got to remember as well, this is a really young England team. Like, we're talking about them being the favourites and they're the team to beat. Like, there's a lot of players in this team who are playing their first Euros, the first international tournaments. It's the first game kind of on this scale, Field 1, live stream against another team that are up there with them. There's a decent crowd on, it's hot, it's been built up a lot.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see how players like Horatio and Will Lupton, people like that, playing their first few tournaments, how they deal with it.
Well, Horatio Price has been sent to the naughty step for his trouble, but Ireland is still up to 6, despite having thrown the ball back at him. But so, can they capitalise on the extra player? And it's not just until the try, it's also they've got 4 changes of possession before England go back up to full strength. So that could be anything from 1 minute up to 4, 5, 6 minutes maybe.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't a smart set by Ireland there. I thought they would have put on a better finish there.
Yeah. I think if there's a player that you want on defending in the middle for England, if you've got 5 on, it's probably Louis, maybe Ben Grinter, somebody who can kind of cover ground really quickly, and you know, you're obviously only 1 middle, but it's kind of cover the ground that 2 middles would cover. So they're quite lucky there, England.
Here comes Will Sericod on the scoop, and Dom Trips going wide.
Good Davies.
Touch coming in there from Ireland. Pete, in terms of that, with England now down to 5, as a coach, what are you wanting there? What are you calling for a team to do?
Well, they've got to work hard right through the field. You see here, they've got to work hard in this area when Ireland's coming off their line, so that Ireland will have their strike dump at least 15-20 metres out. They seem to be doing that right so far. There's touch 3 there, coming up to 4. Oh, lost control.
Those are the tough errors at the moment.
They'll slow it down now and then pick the pace up. They still need to get forward and get down all the way to the try line.
Midway through this first half, England are 3-0 to the good. Ireland, as yet, have not been able to capitalise on the extra player. There's one more change of possession before England are back up to 6. Horatio Price in the naughty step.
England
here they go.
Idea. It's good D from Ireland. That's really
that is good D. That is good defence.
Will's trying to bounce him around and get a little bit of movement in those hips, but Ireland defender just rolled back, got onside. Touch.
But England, you'd say, have definitely come out the best from that Simbin period.
Yeah, they done well there.
Definitely, yeah. Done really well to survive that.
Great ball.
What a ball.
Great ball. Mark Phelan, their strike attack player, throws a bullet to the winger.
Absolute laser, right to left. So they're working to that middle play. He has no right to get to the outside of his opposite middle, but what a dart.
Dara Forster with the finish, but Mark Phelan has got a pass with more fizz than a lake full of champagne.
Very impressive.
And Ireland are off the mark. It's a good response from them, having conceded the 3 early ones. I know they've been targeting this game as one of their absolutely crucial games of the week.
England have done the same as well. I mean, they are favourites, and John Ennis touched upon it before. Ireland, I'd admit, it's England are the team to beat, but England will have marked this down as a game that they want to prove something.
And as we said before, is that a lot of these Ireland players are now no strangers to their England counterparts, having come up against each other in the elite men's national touch.
Yeah, great play.
Brilliant. Two Galaxy players. What they've done really well, England here, they're trying to manipulate the two middles to then get back to that punish play on the link.
Yeah, and I think they condition them with
so they get couple in the middle, and they've got Louis thinks, right, I've got to go back to the other side and rip that long, and John Weston Stanley knows exactly what's coming. He's on the outside of his middle because the Ireland defence is quite compact and done really well.
Yeah, Pete, how important is that club relationship when it comes to this level?
Well, it gives you familiarity with each other's play, so it's huge. If you can form combinations over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4 years because you play club stuff together, it's nothing but all positive.
Here comes Ben Grinter, one of the England youngsters. England are keeping this alive superbly.
England are getting miles better at that as well. Ireland's strength is that midfield D and that aggressive style of touch, and England are just picking them off at the minute.
Camille Shahabdeen takes the touch. Louis Treyas is the Galaxy pair. Dom Tripp from Scorpions.
On that punish play again, Louis will come back to the open side. Wow. That's a score and a half.
Yeah, some clever options there running off that 32 platform.
It's the next progression of what they scored off last time. So Louis goes to the punish play again. He's going to look infield to Camille, which is what he did to John before. Actually step back and come back to Dom Tripp, who's just ready and waiting.
And with an overlap as well, that was a 3-on-2 on that far side.
It was. They got him on that short side again.
Ireland are rocking, but they're building pressure again. And the shot comes down. Touch comes in on Matt Henderson. Ireland need to strike at least once, if not twice, before half-time.
Yeah, Philo will try and get that punish. There he goes.
I'll tell you what, Mark Phelan gets behind his touches so well. He's got great footwork. He swipes and gets in behind his link, and he looks really dangerous on that. I'd just like to see Ireland run the next progression from that punish play, which is what England are doing so well, which is why they're up. Mark Phelan just needs somebody at half who has the ball skills to run that next little play.
A little bit of behind the back magic from Vaughan Meredith.
He's just...
And England get a penalty as well for play the ball coming from Ireland.
Vaughan is one of the most relaxed players on the field I've ever played with.
He does have a tash to rival, most of the time has a tash to rival pair of you.
I wouldn't say it's not as good as Pete's.
Not as well established as Pete.
But Vaughan does things in big games that players wouldn't even think of doing, and to just think, in one of the bigger games of the tournament, to just flick a pass out his back while England are transitioning. So England in a good position here.
Max Howard, ball in hand.
Will Lupton on this side on the counties play.
And England.
Oh!
The ball was bobbling, but it was picked up with no problem at all by Will Lupton.
That's a tough one.
Ben Grinter is over for try number 6 from England.
That could have been Ireland ball. I think it was a bit of a ropey roll ball, but if you want to see how to execute a 4-on-3, Will Lupton's held up the play really well. Little bit of a bobble there.
Counties. He pumps. He throws short.
Beautiful.
Runner hitting the hole. Good touchdown.
And you can see Ireland calling for that loss of control at the play the ball, and maybe they just switched off just like that. England are in.
Had a chat with John Ennis earlier in the week, and he mentioned about the fact that, I mentioned about the fact that it's going to be a mental thing for them because they've never gone to these tournaments, the Euros, and actually won, whereas England had.
Yeah.
So they're now on the big stage. Luckily for them, they've got a whole week or a few days to learn and grow from this performance. The game's not over yet, but certainly England, well in front at the moment.
Yeah, that's one of the huge things for these types of games. If you can learn from it and move on to Friday, Saturday in a better position, then you've done your job.
It's just a late pass there from Horatio Price finding Charlie Thompson. This is coming back for a penalty restart for Ireland. But also is that these teams play each other twice during the course of the week. So Ireland are that they're going to be hoovering up what England are throwing at them at the moment and trying to learn from it for later in the week.
That's one of the that's a huge point as well. I mean, there's been a lot of tournaments in the past where maybe don't save things for the final, but you have something else in your back pocket. You never know. Ireland could be doing that. Ireland could be playing game plan A here against England, and then hoping that they make it to the final on Saturday, and they'll bring out the plan B or an extra move or an extra progression. So we'll see.
And here they come on the dive, and they needed the try that they have just scored. Sean Ballance dives at the ankles and goes over to give Ireland a sniff of a chance.
So we're just talking about Ireland keeping things in the bag. This is the first time they've actually gone into their playbook.
Yeah, they've run this play a couple of times. It's a little in between play. Yeah, trying to catch that retiring toucher.
It's the first time online attack that they've not really gone into that punish play, and they've changed it up a little bit, and they've seen a little bit of success from it.
England now back on the attack. Try scorer Ben Grinter finds Max Howard with the smouldering eyes. Try scorer Will Upton finds Howard. Grinter comes in on the short run, but there's a shot from Ireland on the defence. Matt Kennison. Ireland staying patient this time. Of course, there's a thing about placings between England, Ireland and France, because two of them are going to play each other in the semi-finals, you feel.
There's an interesting one from Lupton there. He looks to run the punish play, but he actually went on the middle. He had to come in field. That's a tough touch from Ben Grinter. I think he'll get a hard touch there. He stepped in a little bit too hard,
but it's taken the wind, it's taken the momentum out of Ireland, even though they will start from another. And there we go. That is a heavy touch from Ireland in the attack. We saw this in the men's 30s earlier. I was watching Switzerland-Luxembourg, and exactly the same thing was happening. They're the older fellas, this kind of forgiven. These youngsters out there, and that brings the half-time Hooter. Peter, just have a quick summary of that before you go and have a quick chat to Ian.
Well, look, England have dominated that half. They had a good selection of options on what plays they were running. They did some good conditioning with the punish plays and then changing up and turning and bouncing out and going back the open side. I thought they played really well. When they were down a man, they held out. Ireland didn't score for that couple of minutes. A really good half by England.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Peter. Jordan will just talk through the rest of the highlights, and Peter's going to have a quick chat with Ian in just a couple of seconds' time. Jordan, just talk us through the rest of these tries.
Yeah, so like we said, with that counties from Will Lupton, we pointed out that it would be dangerous off it, and he definitely was, like on that first play. And Ireland replied with a counties of their own. Camille caught offside. England kind of kicked on from here. They just look like they're just digging into their progressions a little bit more than Ireland are at the minute. Like we said, Ireland have not had to dig too far into their playbook, or they've not wanted to. Whereas England, they're running these types of plays. They go into the punish, then they're coming back to the open side. Proceeds on Weston Stanley getting outside his middle from a long from Louis. Louis runs something similar on the next play. So he's got Dom Tripp running his punish this time. He'll look infield to throw that long play. He's got Camille this time, and instead of throwing it, he steps back, he comes back to Dom, and that's where the space is. And it's just that extra little progression.
We're talking about how England are going to be, we're talking about how the teams are going to respond to this, is that even if England do go on and win this game, Tim Osborne and Jeff Pimpton and Martin Wright as the coaches are not going to be going over the top with this, are they?
No, not at all. I think I'd say that with Ireland as well. I think whatever the result here, I think both teams know that they're going to be there and thereabouts on Saturday. France are there as well, and I wouldn't say they're saving things for Saturday, but it's definitely something that they'll keep in the back pocket.
We'll be back in just a couple of minutes' time with Jordan Melling and Ben Meakin replacing Peter Walters, who has gone about 6 feet to our left to have a chat with you.
Well, you've heard his voice. I'm delighted to say now we're joined by Peter Walters. Now we can see your face, Peter. Now let's just touch on that first half very quickly, because you've done a lot of analysis on it already. But how important was it for England to get that fast start?
Well, both teams were on at the fast start, and obviously when England's way, they're very clinical. They're very smart in the options they chose. They start off running. Actually, both teams start off running punish plays where they quickie the link, and you can see the conditioning that was happening. And then they turned and they went back the other way to the open side, and they were successful on a couple of occasions. I thought they did really well when they had a man in the bin for 2 minutes and they only had 5, and they held Ireland out for those sets. So been defending well, been attacking well. They certainly took control of that first half.
Yeah, well, let's talk about you a little bit. You are known as Mr. Touch, of course. What you don't know about the game, it really isn't worth knowing, is it? But how proud are you to be seeing this tournament? We just spoke about it off air, didn't we, actually? Bulgaria making their debut here, Luxembourg are playing with a depleted squad, but they're all here competing.
I know, it's so good. 19 countries, over 1,000 players, and a lot of these developing countries like Sweden, who I'm helping out coaching the 30 men's, you know, a lot of these guys haven't played touch before. Some of our boys was their first game of touch yesterday, so you got to take your hats off them for being part of our sport, and they obviously love it. They try it as something different, something new, and they like it. They love the skills of activity and agility and flexibility and running and catch and pass. It's so good.
You might have just answered my next question, actually. And next, I was going to say, anybody watching this who's perhaps not played the game before, why should they get involved and start playing touch?
Well, there's a lot of benefits. It's fairly cheap and inexpensive to play. You just need a ball, you need a bit of grass, and you go with a bunch of friends. You know, that's the good thing about it. You can play with your partner because there's mixed touch.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many benefits to the sport. It's great.
Peter, well, it's been a real treat. Thank you so much for your time. I know you've got lots to do this week, so we'll let you crack on, and I'm going to hand back to your commentary team for the second half. Enjoy.
Awesome. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks to Ian and Peter Walters, Mr. Touch. My name's Chris Wearmouth, and I know a small atom about this sport compared to Peter Walters, who has been replaced in the commentary box by Ben Meakin, who is alongside Jordan Melling as well. Now, gents, just before the game starts, how good is it to have Peter up here, even if he's in the slightly unfamiliar colours of Sweden, or because he's in the unfamiliar colours of Sweden?
I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he still gets around the field, to be honest. It's amazing to have him here, isn't it? Because people have seen him play for years and years and years, and then he's now running around at European Championships as well for Sweden. So no, it's good to have him, and it's good to have, like you say, his knowledge here wherever it is on the pitch or off the pitch as well.
And we just got so excited earlier as Will Lupton just gets it down to make it 6 tries to England. We were a little bit excited up in the graphics department, giving England a 4-try lead at half-time. In fact, it was a 2-try lead to England at half-time.
I thought Will was running back to the accommodation.
I don't think he saw the big white line at the end.
I think if he hadn't have put that down, he'd have been thrown into the lake that's halfway.
I think he just kept on going.
Yeah, I would have gone home if I was in.
Will Upton, the try scorer in each half for England, to go back to 3 tries to the good against Ireland. This has been a fascinating game of touch between 2 of Europe's leading nations in this men's open division. England in the traditional red and white, a new look kit for this year, the return of the European Touch Championships. Ireland in new stash as well, so it's great to have everybody here and play some good stuff.
Oh, we've got an intercept. Can he go all the way? He's got Josh inside his ball. He's going to get chased down. He's going to get chased down. Oh! That was 0 touch as well. They would have had a full set of 6 on the line. Vaughan's not going to enjoy me saying that,
but he was aware to Mark Phelan's fantastic passing, and this time intercepted. And
it was a really good read, really good read. But like Meek was saying, that's 0 touch.
Who put the afterburners on from Ireland though? What speed he had to recover from there?
Outstanding D to chase that down.
Yeah, credit to Sebastian Caldwell there for stretching his legs and managing to shut down his opposite number, Vaughan Meredith.
Oh, what a ball, what a hole. Ireland back in it.
Straight through hole 1, and like we say, that was probably made by the Irish number 10 winger who was zooming back to get that interception caught by Vaughan to get him.
Just a 4-on-3 pick-up, and England were in quite good position there. He's held the ball up really well, similar to one of the England scores in the first half, and it's just opened up that hole. Really nice ball.
Conor Murphy who was setting to line up for a howitzer, but instead released a really gentle pass for the try, deceiving the England defence, as you say, Jordan. It's a little bit of a heavy touch coming in on Horatio Price.
Yeah. Referee's not dropped it. He's not dropped it. Ooh. Referee's not a bit sure what's happened here. Horatio had the outside. He stepped back actually. I think the referee's got a bit confused. I think he thought he dropped it, but
I thought Ireland defended that 2 players in a row really well. They did Dom on this side with when Dom was trying to run a punish. They held him up well and they didn't give him the outside edge, and they come back to the middle with Horatio and done the exact same. And
we
so
called
it's tough on Ireland.
And we called the heavy touch, and hey presto, there it is.
Yeah, I think Ireland will feel quite hard done to there, but they come back to Will Lupton with that punish play. Great feat.
Good defence from Ireland, shutting him down. There, James O'Donnell killing all the space there.
Yeah, as he made the touch, he got the outside shoulder, which actually wins this touch. He does it again. He actually lunges in this time, and England got the outside, and Dom goes down. Does he? No, he gets touched. Referee's pointing to the ground. He's not. It's definitely a touch.
Yeah.
Good defence.
England working through those progressions again. They've gone the punish this side. They've realised that Ireland have locked that up, and they've come back with the long play this side. They've locked that up. What have England got next? Early release? No, they're going to come back to the short. It's good D from Ireland.
Ireland's link defence is having to work ridiculously hard at the minute to keep England out. They are spreading the play right to left. We've seen the experienced veterans of John Weston, Stanley and Dom Tripp.
It's a big set from Ireland, this. Oh, they're going to be devastated with that.
And Horatio Price is heading back up to Cripps Hall on the University of Nottingham campus.
He is hop, stepping and jumping all the way back to the accommodation, isn't he there?
Ireland are going to be really disappointed with that. I think that was one of the first sets where I was thinking, I think Ireland might D England out for a whole set of 6.
Yeah.
And that would have been huge. But to let a score in on last touch.
Oliver De Silva just gets rounded by Horatio Price, who spent plenty of minutes in the naughty step in the first half. Lost his rag a little bit. He's kept calm on that occasion. And Ireland needing to strike again. Here they come. Mark Phelan, one of their key playmakers. We've seen that in terms of his distribution, just keeping the ball in hand this time. He gets the ball back as well. Finds John Ennis, who takes the touch. And into another interception.
Well, Sericald's gone. He's got the speed. He's being chased down. Great D from the Ireland winger.
Play on it. You've got to play on it.
Zero touch from England. First touch coming on the Ireland 7-metre line.
Well, he's done one better than Vaughan, hasn't he, this time? He's managed to keep a hold of the ball. So England have got a full set of 6 now on the Irish attacking line. But I back Ireland's defence. They've defended really well so far this second half.
Don't forget, Will was a really good winger at one point.
Oh, he was. You're right. You're absolutely right. He's
the only middle link winger in European touch.
Yeah, I believe so.
And a massive credit has to be said to James O'Donnell for the way he chased back there.
Chase back.
I think England need to do some speed training.
Yeah,
been caught twice now.
Here comes Dom Tripp diving in.
That's good D from Ireland.
Time working the outside of the mid shoulder. Ben O'Connell there getting down to make the touch. Here comes Grinter. Just opts to take the touch rather than feeding.
Just a settle play.
Max Howard, but Howard gets the ball now. Ireland have got 2 defenders up. Tripp takes the touch. Back to Howard. Tripp goes wide.
Forward.
Ref's called forward. Fire referee's called a forward pass, which it looks like it. So Ireland have got a full set of 6 here.
Ben, you've been able to relax and watch the first half. What were you able to take away from what you saw?
Firstly, I wasn't relaxed watching this game. But what I took away was whoever makes the least mistakes is probably going to win this one. Obviously, as Jordan's already said, they're probably not going to show absolutely everything this game, because they're going to play each other again in the round and potentially in the finals, whether it's a semi or a grand final. So it's whoever makes the least amount of mistakes will win this.
Already with 6 minutes into the second half. 40-minute games. This is punishing. The pace, the physicality, the sun. We're into the mid-20s here in the East Midlands now. And that's a penalty that England have got for Ireland coming back through the ruck. We've seen that on a few occasions so far this game. Slows England down, but it also gets them fresh set of 6 on halfway. And now they go into the Ireland half. With Hanno Russo scored 5 tries yesterday.
Louis Will is going to try and do something here. Is Will going to get the ball back?
Up inside link channel.
Oh, he's done well not to get caught at half there. 32
so
counties to Will.
Good D from Ireland again. They seem to be getting better on line D every time.
They're a bit less hesitant this time. So Will's tried to hold the ball up, and he's gone through hole 1, and the link defence of Ireland is just... Oh, they've done it. Oh, he's dropped it.
Josh Henderson
could have gone 8-4.
Josh Henderson had a great finish in the first half, but he's dropped a couple in scoring position since then.
Just
from Ireland. No,
just going back to what we were talking about before, we're talking about unique aspects of touch.
And that was forward, actually. Sorry, Jordan.
Would you say a unique aspect is actually saving stuff in a regular game for the final day?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting one that you talk about that. We've both been in teams that we've probably done saved a little bit. Would you? How much do you reckon Ireland or England are saving here for something?
How much do I think? I think Ireland are saving a bit more than England, personally.
I agree.
I think the setbacks that England have had this week, in the first 2 days, especially for the game against France, they probably want to prove a little bit more.
Yep.
So I think they can. Yeah, they're looking to show a bit more. I think Ireland actually haven't shown much currently. Whether they're what's going on here? Looks like one of the spectators is being told to walk away. Not sure.
Unsurprisingly, it's Mark Aldous.
I'm not sure he's a spectator, guys. I think he's associated to England Men's Open, so I think he's probably just talking a bit too much behind.
Good D from Ireland again. They're starting to read those open side longs from the Punish players really well.
How much were England looking to prove a point after the French game yesterday in this one? Considering that Ireland have got to play France as well today.
For me, it's not proving a point to anyone else but themselves. You know, they want to build through this tournament, and whatever happened in that game one, they were still going to look to build. But I think it's about themselves that they can do it. And yesterday they proved that. Today they want to prove it, but it's all about them doing it to themselves, no one else.
And in terms of proving things, Ireland are going to have to prove in defence now. They are down to 5 for the next 4 sets of possession because Ryan Rupana-Risinga has been sent to the sin bin, presumably for a bit of a heavy touch.
That's a lucky first set for Ireland, where England got one on first touch. They throw the ball away. It's a bit unfortunate. They had the overlap. It was the right call. It was just bad execution. So Ireland just need to go up the field to try and get rid of one of these sets of 4 to go back to a full complement.
Ireland going back to doing what they do best, and it's running hard. And obviously they've got a man down, so they've got to step it up a gear, but they're still looking sharp.
Late pass given against Mark Phelan there, and he gets another 10 metres for their trouble as well, for the little bit of slapping the ball around and just not leaving it there. And England will get a penalty restart 8 metres inside their own half. Here comes Dom Tripp, the experienced veteran. At the opposite end of the spectrum is Horatio Price. He's there with John Weston Stanley.
Space.
Josh Henderson, another youngster. Ben Meakin to my right was a youngster when in that photo you showed me earlier.
I did, and Josh has actually taken my number off me, so gone from one youngster to another one oldie to another youngster. So playing against 5 is really difficult, because sometimes you think you've got overlaps, and saying that, Josh Henderson taking the number 12 and throwing the ball straight into the link hole for Will Serracol to go straight through.
You can only wear number 12 if you can throw a pill.
Honestly, if I've got hair like him when I'm no, I don't want hair. I don't want hair like him.
No, you don't.
I'll just say one thing: John Weston Stanley was coaching Josh Henderson in the England boys 18s team nearly 3 years ago.
And that's the best thing about England touch. We've had players as a developing country. A couple of years ago we were a developing country. I say we're trying to be better than a developing country now. But our Opens players are now coaching at boys under 18s, and if we can get our under 18s to be as good as they are now, then we're going to have a huge success in the future.
Midway through this second half, England have got double the lead they had at half time. 8 tries to 4. They were leading 5-3 at half time. So we can see Peter Walters and his Sweden team warming up in the shade. It's now starting to...
Is that a warm-up? I thought they were doing yoga. Ireland are back to a full complement now, so 6 on 6.
England look really good here.
Although Ireland have only got... Oh no, they've got 6 players on. I can't count.
They look a lot more composed than they did in the first half.
Louis Treyas on the scoop, puts a bit of pedal to the metal. Great hands from Josh Henderson. This is play on. Not that time. I think Camille Shahabdin was kind of half waiting for the whistle to go for a late pass there on Josh Henderson, but he then makes the touch. And Ireland look to get fresh players on.
Would have been a penalty for Ireland there. England in the ruck a little bit. And the referee's caught one of the Irish coaches complaining.
I don't know if the camera can see this. The Ireland coach has got his hands in the air. The captain's now walking over. I think he's probably said a bit too much.
Yeah.
It's been both sides though. Both sides have been chatting all the way through. So I don't think it's just Ireland. I think it's both sides. And
I refereed with Sylvan, who's having a chat there as the on-field referee. I refereed with him at the Development National Touch Series a couple of weeks in Banbury a couple of weeks ago. The way he just takes the fizz out of a situation like that, it's actually quite remarkable. Just the control, and all the referees have, because this is such a high-pressure game, the referees have officiated this superbly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you can take, it's, like you say, it is high pressure, and sometimes you can say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing. But if you've just got someone looking at you with that stern look and actually not saying anything, it actually gets rid of all those angry thoughts. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt.
England, having restarted, are now got touches to play with in the Ireland half. Try scorer Will Sericold took the touch there. John Weston Stanley.
32's pick up into Link. Oh, good intercept by the Link.
Oh, well dished.
Great basketball play, great footy.
Oh.
That's touch 0 here.
England recover really well.
Vaughan Meredith on the touch on this near side. But Ireland have saved themselves really with that interception and are now building nicely in the England half. The danger man, Mark Phelan, one of many danger men for the Irish. He feeds it off to John Ennis.
Done well to get down to the 7 there, Ireland. And Phelan's complaining that they're backing off early. He's going to break into his punish plays.
Oh, we've got another intercept by Charlie. And that's 3 from 3 England have been caught. All intercepts have been caught today, which I'm very disappointed about.
To be fair to them, the Irish interceptor was caught as well. So I think the defensive scramble's been fantastic for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been 4 and they've all been caught. And
really good attitude from both teams.
I think Ali got caught as well, to be honest. Here's Ben Grinter picking up. They had the momentum there. I think Ben should have just carried on with that drive, but he decided to slow up and see if they can get one more attack. Is this 5th touch coming or is it 4?
I think it is. They've got Will on one side, Dom on the other.
So Dom's going to pick up.
Early release, maybe.
Early release.
Flicked. Oh, I'm not sure if Will intentionally flicked that on. If he did, that would have been pretty amazing.
Hometown boy Will Lupton scored a couple of tries in this game. He's been on the score sheet regularly throughout this competition for England. Another player, as we said, he was playing in both the Junior Touch Championships and the World Cup 3 years ago, and is now very well established within the England Men's Open setup. Here come Ireland though. They have plenty of familiarity at club level from Old Wesley. But on this time,
such a good defender.
Sean Balance there gets touched as the half. Turnover for England.
It'll be interesting to see now. It'll be interesting to see now if either team, England probably, well definitely will, if Ireland dig into their playbook a little bit more, or if they're just happy to kind of see this game out, because the game's probably gone for them for 4 minutes left, 4 scores down. England can kind of coast and put this game on ice, but it'll be interesting to see if Ireland dig into their playbook a little bit more, or if they just kind of wait for round 2 against England.
With the game being 4 minutes in, personally, I would decide to just carry on doing what they're doing, and let the game. I don't think the result really matters.
And we'll just give you a quick rundown, just in the last couple of minutes, just of what games these teams have got coming up. Ireland-France is another must-watch. That's at 6:05. You can watch that on the Field 3 YouTube. Or alternatively, you can watch all 4 fields in one hit via
on the quad box.
Federation on the quad box. And then tomorrow, England playing Germany at 8:45. Then Wales and Belgium. That's their day 3 tomorrow. That's their day 4 tomorrow. Day 3 tomorrow. Yeah, day 3.
Day 3 tomorrow.
Ireland play Belgium as well as Germany and Wales. So there's
what a
straight up match.
Great pill over the top.
And they get a try. It's probably too late to win this one. That is Sebastian Caldwell on the finish.
Nice
just before that, Vaughan Meredith actually got sin bin. So England are actually down to 5 plays. They send a sweeper. He steps back, and the 4 and 3 was there, and he got that ball away. It's a good finish.
Ireland couldn't capitalise in the first half when they had a man to the good, and this time they do. And then these 2 teams will meet again on Saturday morning at 8:45 a.m.
They could depending on the results, they could play each other back to back. So they could play each other and then play each other if they're 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. So that's going to be really interesting in terms of tactics.
It's interesting to see that that's the first time we've seen Mark Phelan throw that long ball, because we know that he's got that in his locker, and he's obviously been running those.
Lucky. JD West has just got through there. John Weston Stanley, should I say, and the ball went to ground.
It's just a roll ball restart. England stay 8-5 to the good. Minute and a half to play, or just over, and here come England. They do not want to concede anymore. Ben Grinter on the shut there. He touches Connor Murphy. And Ireland are now, I think, maybe will want another score, but this is just consolation time now for the men in green.
What I will say today is England have won this by their midfield defence. What we know Ireland for, I think Jordan said it at the start of this game, Ireland normally sub on with so much intensity, and they normally get on the outside of teams. Every single time Ireland have subbed on, they've not been able to get on the outside of the outside defensive middle of the link. So it's been quite impressive from England's midfield defence.
Will Upton's done some world-class fouling.
Honestly,
we're in a 5-on-5 drop-off, lads.
You don't see that.
And it's only day 2.
You don't see that very often, but you do see Will diving around like he's just done all the time.
Yeah, sometimes he's diving to score, but he's been diving just falling on the floor today.
What can England do with a little bit more space to play with, even though they've only got 5? But they're just killing the clock now in the final minute.
Yeah, they'll put this game on ice now, and Louis might look to run something on the last play.
And they'll get a penalty on the 7 to start. That's Horatio Price has drawn that out of the Irish defence. I think when it comes to Saturday morning, Ireland might be feeling a little bit aggrieved at some of these decisions.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. Mel Day isn't happy with the officiating.
Less than 10 seconds. Well, personally, I think there's been a lot put out on the pitch, and I am really excited for Saturday, because that first game, and if they play again in one of the finals, is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, there's going to be a penalty though, because England have got a penalty, and the game can't finish on a penalty. Louis Tress is just telling everybody else to calm down and counting. Just tap the ball and take the touch, Louis.
Nah, Louis and Horatio, and they'll do something. And that'll do us. That will do.
The cookie has crumbled, the fat lady has sung, and both teams will have quite a bit to take away from this. What we'll do is we'll let Ben Meakin have a chat to Ian in the studio, because there's not a massive amount of time to go until the next game. Jordan Melling, thank you very much for your time, and it's just handed over to Ian to chat with Ben Meakin.
Wales versus Ireland.
Right there, what a pulsating game now. Was it England emerging victorious? But it wasn't all their own way, was it, Ben?
No, I don't think it was ever going to be either. Ireland have done what they've done in every single game. They were hard, they were fast, they were coy at times. You know, they tried to be niggly, but England were as well. You know, England got 4 subs, times going exclusions, and so did Ireland. So it was very niggly, and I'm really excited for the Saturday games now. I'm really excited for them.
It's set up nicely, isn't it? It was the most aggressive game I've seen so far, but did we expect that?
Yes, absolutely. Looking at it, I think so, but I think the team that will win out in the end will be the team that can eradicate those